Welcome back, Sebastian here. So Jakarta ePrix review, a bit delayed, but nonetheless it's here. So today was the debuts for both Roberto Merhi and David Beckman in Formula E. So it was a bit exciting. Gunther on pole as well, first pole in Formula E, and Jake Dennis starts P2. Verlaine got a really good start and got ahead of Dennis at the start and was P2 after the first corner, and John-Eric Byrne was as well. Buemi had a really bad start, looked like he almost stalled, but I'm not exactly sure how he would have stalled an electric car. Lap 2, there's contact between Buemi and Beckman, and I think this resulted in a puncture for Buemi, and he pits and his race is basically ruined. Lap 4, Verlaine takes the lead, and Van Doorn takes attack mode as well for 6 minutes, and he drops down to 5th. Lap 5, Verlaine takes attack mode as well and drops down to 2nd, and Jeb also takes it. And on the radio, Gunther, who's in the lead at this point on lap 6, is told that he needs to build a 0.6 second delta to only lose 1 place. In the following lap, he takes attack mode and he drops down to 2nd, so mission succeeded there. Lap 7, Muller takes attack mode, drops down to 9th from a good position. Lap 9, Verlaine takes his 2nd attack mode, so very aggressive strategy with attack mode for Verlaine, and he drops down to 3rd. Lap 11, Van Doorn takes the 2nd attack mode and he drops down to 4th. And at this point, they showed the energy readings for the first time in the race, and both Dennis and Cassidy were best on energy at this point. Lap 12, Gunther takes attack mode and drops down to 2nd. Lap 14, Dennis has the most attack mode among leaders. He still has about 6 minutes of attack mode left at this point, so it'll be interesting. I thought it would be interesting to see how he would use it. Jeff takes attack mode that same lap and he drops down to 6th. Dennis, finally making use of that attack mode, takes on lap 15 and he drops down to 4th, and he takes his full 6-minute attack mode. Let's see, lap 17, Dennis starts to make use of that attack mode and overtakes Van Doorn at turn 1 for P3, so this was one of the first on-track overtakes that we actually saw. Lap 20, Cassidy and Jeb have contact at turn 1. Cassidy, I think, was very lucky. He goes for a move that wasn't really there. He comes from very far back, never gets fully alongside Byrne. They make a little bit of contact, and Cassidy starts to oversteer. Looks like he might go into a bit of a spin, but he manages to correct it, and I think he was very lucky not to get damaged and not to spin the car there. Dennis then overtakes Gunther at that same point, right, which we missed. He overtakes Gunther at turn 1 for P2, so making another overtake with his attack mode. Lap 24, Dennis tries to go around the outside of turn 1 to take the lead, but it's very dirty, very dusty out there, and he loses a load of time. And Gunther, he almost gets overtaken by Gunther in both turns 2 and 3 that same lap, presumably because of all the dirt on his tires that he picked up. Lap 26, Cassidy tries to take final 6-minute attack mode, and at this point there was a massive gap. It was like almost 7 or 8 seconds between Cassidy in 7th and Evans in 8th. Later on, Evans, Rast, Bird, and DaCosta all take attack mode that lap 26. So it seems like most of the front runners had decided to take their attack mode, all of their attack modes very early, but there was also a group kind of in the middle, the lower points paying some positions, that decided to take their attack modes quite a bit later. Let's see, lap 27, Dennis and Gunther have a bit more energy, but of course, like we've seen in previous races like Hyderabad, just having more energy isn't enough. You have to be able to make that move on track. Lap 29, Dennis is caught up at the back to Verlaine again, so he clearly has a lot of pace, but was having a really hard time getting overtaking. Lap 30, Rash loses 3 positions at once, we didn't really see why, and then later it seemed that he basically just spun the car at turns 3 or 4, I think, turns 4, I think, there. Lap 32, 3-way battle for the lead between Verlaine, Dennis, and Gunther, and the cars behind, so Verlaine, Van Doorn have kind of dropped back quite a bit from this lead group. Lap 34, they announced no additional laps. Dennis had 2% more energy than Verlaine at this point, but still couldn't get a move on. Evans was then hit by his teammate Bird again, so second time this season that Evans has basically been knocked out of the race by his teammate. At this point, I don't know what the full story is, if it was like there was some kind of issue with the car, but Bird came on the radio and apologized right away, so presumably it was his mistake. Lap 36, final lap, Bird basically has contact with Rene Rast to make Jaguar's day even worse, and he drops down to last place. So the Bearline crosses the checkered flag, takes the checkered flag, and wins the Jakarta ePrix round 1. Of course, we have round 2 tomorrow. So your final order was first Bearline, second Dennis, third Gunther, fourth Van Dorn, fifth Jev, sixth Mortara, seventh Cassidy, eighth DaCosta, ninth Frines, really good points for Frines in the apt, 10th Hughes, 11th Muller, 12th Rast, presumably with a penalty that he got for hitting Bird, 13th Natos, 14th Tictum, 15th Degrassi, 16th Beckman on his debut. Not great, I thought, given his teammate was so much quicker, but honestly that's about as much as you would expect for a Formula E rookie coming in mid-season. 17th Sergio Senicamera, 18th Mary, 19th Fenestraz, 20th Buemi, 21st Bird, and your one retirement was Mitch Evans. Your Drivers' Championship after the Jakarta round 1, Cassidy 128, second is Bearline with 126, so moves up right to the back of Cassidy. Dennis is in third with 114, fourth Jev with 97, fifth Evans with 94. He's going to regret losing more valuable points today. Sixth DaCosta with 72 points, seventh Bird with 62.8, Buemi with 61 points, ninth Hughes with 46 points, 10th Gunther with 42 points, so moves up quite a bit again today with his second podium of the season. 11th Rast 40 points, 12th Van Dorn also with 40 points, 13th Lauder with 23 points, who of course was not here this weekend doing testing with Porsche for Le Mans. 14th Fenestraz, 19th, 15th Degrassi with 18, 16th Tictum also with 18, 17th Mortara with 13, 18th Nato with 11 points, 19th Sergio Senicamera with 10 points, 20th Roland, who has basically left Mahindra for the season with 9 points, 21st was Frines with 51 points, 22nd is Muller with 2 points, 23rd Van der Linde, 24th Beckman, and 5th Mary. Your team's championship, first Porsche with 198 points. They, I believe, move into the lead of the team's championship. Second Envision with 189 points. Third Jaguar with 156, falling further behind Porsche and Envision this weekend, or today. Fourth Andretti with 137 points. Fifth DS Penske with 137 points. So very close between those two. Effectively a one car, Andretti and Dennis, and then two cars have been there or thereabouts in Byrne and Van Dorn. Sixth McLaren with 86 points. Seventh Maserati with 55 points. Eighth Nissan with 30 points. Ninth Neo with 28 points. 10th Mahindra with 27 points, and bringing up the rear is Apt with 7 points on the season. So honestly, I didn't think it was a fantastic race. I think last year's race was quite good, and this year's race there wasn't as much on-track action, I thought. I think the track seems to be a lot dustier than last year, from what I remember, but I think last year's track was also pretty dusty as well. But I just felt like there was very few on-track overtakes that we saw. Lots of following. I think they've been experimenting with the race format, making today's race shorter, less energy management, and tomorrow's race a bit more, 2 laps longer, 38 laps. So today's race was like a sprint race kind of, and I think the result of that is that there's more all-out flat-out racing, less energy management, and the gaps between cars were quite a bit bigger. So it'll be interesting to compare the two, today's race and tomorrow's race, see which one has more overtakes and which one's just in general more exciting. But that being said, today's race was still pretty exciting, very close at the top, and I thought there was a possibility right to the end that Dennis or Gunther could have won the race. So that's all for today for Jakarta ePrix. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to watch more. Please leave your comment below. Who do you think was the driver of the race? For me, I think Bearline did a very good start. Had a very good start. I think he capitalizing on that start allowed him to win today's race. So that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.